Nutrition is essential for healing from chronic illness. It may not be the only cure, but it is absolutely part of the solution. And without proper nutrition and the ability to break down and utilize the nutrients, you will continue to have dis-ease. Hey there, I'm Allison Samon, your functional nutritionist, and I work virtually with people like you who are ready to get out of chronic illness, escape from mystery symptoms, and redesign their lifestyles so that they can be fit, energized, and pain-free in ways that are easy, fun, and sustainable. And if you're new here, I want to welcome you to this growing community of people who are ready to finally find relief from their chronic pain. And you can't do that without today's topic. So let's dive in. As we say in functional nutrition, genes, digestion, and inflammation are the three roots of all disease. And we think about all of the diagnoses that we have and all of the symptoms that we have, and they are actually branches of the tree that is our bodies and our life. And those roots are underneath the soil. I think of your body as the trunk. You have all of these branches, and it's easy to see all of the branches and get stuck on, well, I have this diagnosis and it says to do this, that, and that. I have this symptom. Let me get this Band-Aid. That is an old way of looking at health and healing. If we think about the roots are what's underneath the soil, what we can't see, but need to be tended to so that we can feed the rest of the trunk, and then branches will be tended to. The leaves that might have been falling off will suddenly start to bud and bloom. And that's what we want for you, because you actually have control over these roots that you can't see. And before you started getting curious about functional nutrition or working with a functional nutritionist like me, you weren't really paying much attention, because you might be thinking, well, I don't have any control over all of these things that are happening for me. But here's the thing. When I say control, we're talking about how you can influence them, because it's not about creating anxiety as we try to control all of our symptoms and try to control things that wasn't really our fault to begin with. If we're talking about our genetics, we're talking about our digestion that may have become impaired through no intention of our own, and inflammation. We don't willfully cause inflammation, but what we can do is influence how these roots are expressing themselves, how they are manifesting themselves. The study of epigenetics has shown us that we can actually influence how our genes are expressed, how they are turned on or off. We can't change them, but we can influence the expression of them. So this is old saying that I love to use whenever I'm speaking on the topic is, your genetics loads the gun. You're predisposed to this, you're predisposed to that, but it's your environment that pulls the trigger. So you don't have to pull a trigger unless things in your environment are convincing the trigger to be pulled. So the things that we put in, on, and around our bodies influence the expression of our genes. So that would be our food, movement, our environment, our mindset. And these are all areas that are going to look different for every body. And we can't food our way out of dis-ease or a health crisis, but we can absolutely nourish our bodies, and it's essential. There's no way that you can get proper healing or the sustainability that we want from healing from our dis-ease without proper food, without being able to utilize the nutrients from that food. If you missed my video on do you have low stomach acid, check that out and let's see if your food is actually working for you. I can't tell you how many clients I've had who have been hospitalized or been given a protocol that was pharmaceutical intensive, or been told to avoid eating certain foods, but generally speaking, are not given guidance around diet and lifestyle and mindset. And those are the things that are going to help any intervention succeed, because we're reducing inflammation, we're balancing our blood sugar, we're pooping so that we can be detoxified, we're sleeping. Remember, if you're not sleeping and you're not pooping, you can't heal anything without those two things, right? So nutrition is about growth and metabolism and repair. And so it's not just about some fad diet that you may have heard about, and there may be truth to it, but it's not necessarily right for you right now. And so what instead, I want to invite you to take a look at, what are you eating? Are you eating the rainbow? Are you balancing your blood sugar by eating protein, fat, and fiber? If you missed my video on is your blood sugar balanced, you might want to check that out, because it ties into exactly what we're talking about today. You want to be eating your protein, fat, and fiber at every meal. Is perfection the ideal? No, but making sure that you have balanced blood sugar throughout the day is. We can't talk about nutrition without digestive function, because the nutrition has to get into your cells. And these are what we call in functional nutrition non-negotiables. You have to be able to digest. If you're able to digest, you are pooping, right? If you are able to digest, you are more likely to be able to balance your blood sugar, which is a non-negotiable, and sleep being another non-negotiable. And so as long as you have those three non-negotiables in place, then you can actually influence your digestion. And so is it that you have structural issues with your digestion, where a leaky gut situation where there needs to be repair? Is it mechanical, where you need to chew better? Because a lot of us are just scarfing down our food because we don't have time. We're standing at the counter eating. I mean, guilty. I've definitely been guilty. You're eating in the car on your way to your next meeting. This is not setting yourself up for rest and digest. And if you're not chewing, which is the first part, actually, you're thinking about when you first start thinking about food, and your mouth starts to water, that's where digestion begins. Then the chewing, the mechanical processing of that food, is beginning the digestive process, breaking down carbohydrate in your mouth. That helps the digestive process. People are more likely to have indigestion when they eat too quickly than people who eat very, very slowly, like I do. Very slowly. But it helps all of the things. How else can we influence digestion? Maybe you have dysbiosis in your microbiome. How can we influence that? What do we need to add in? What foods? What supplements? What do we need to crowd out? Is there an infection? Is there an overgrowth? What about chemically? Are you able to break down the food that you are putting in your body? Because if you can't break it down, you can't absorb the nutrients, you can't have your cells turn over properly, you can't send the signals to your glands to release hormones, your organs are not going to function properly. And so it all really begins with digestion. And if you're having a digestion issue, you're likely having more inflammation. So how can we influence the inflammation if we don't tend to the digestion? Which is why these roots all go hand in hand. They all influence each other. And lucky you, you have the power to influence them right back. And I'm going to show you how. It's not just about taking another supplement or probiotics. It can really start with such basic things that are at the root of our disease. And your doctors are probably not talking to you about it. Sleep, exercise, your stress levels, so that's inflammation, hormone levels, blood sugar balancing, what you eat. We often say you want to slow it down to speed things up, because we're all looking for a magic pill and it just doesn't exist. And especially when you are in the functional medicine world, we take a bio-individual approach. So whatever your diagnosis is, It's not the same for every single individual. The symptoms may or may not manifest the same, but your genes are different, your life experience is different, your health history is different, your preferences are different. So we customize within the parameters of your diagnosis or your symptoms or what your health goals are to help your body to function optimally, to help your genes to be more health promotive than inflammatory, right? How your genes all are working together and all of your body systems are working together, messaging each other. We're not segmenting the body. We're making sure if we optimize this here, then the signaling to our brain is going to work better, and the hormones to the messengers, the chemical messengers, our hormones, our endocrine system is going to work better, our neurological system is going to work better, our immune system is going to work better. It's sort of a ripple effect instead of that long list of side effects that you get with a pharmaceutical that you may have been prescribed, including death. Instead, you're going to see a ripple effect of benefit. Oh, I didn't know that I could see better. I didn't have dry eye anymore. I don't have chapped skin anymore. I don't have fill in the blank. I had a client recently be able to wear contact lenses for the first time in years. She couldn't. She always wore glasses because her eyes were too dry. So for the first time in I don't even know how many years, she was able to see her face when she put on makeup. That was not something that we discussed in health goals. That was an added benefit. And so what we do when we do a chronic illness case review, for instance, which is a great way that I like to get started with a lot of clients, is to really dive deep, peel back all of the layers of the onion, and to know what is their story. What is their health history? What is their background? What do their genetics say? What are the traumas that they may have? Especially in autoimmune, trauma is always part of the equation. And so where was this point in time when we build out a history? Where is this point in time when everything changed after that surgery? Everything changed after that illness. Everything changed after I had that baby. Everything changed after we had the flood. We got divorced. There's always something in someone's timeline where things started to change because trauma, stress, inflammation affect digestion, detoxification, sleep. All of these things matter. And so we address them in the chronic illness case review and what we call the functional timeline and a matrix. We use diet and lifestyle for is to put out flames and not pour salt in wounds, especially when there's a lot of imbalances going on in there, right? And so if we want to influence our inflammation, we have to clear it out. What are the sources of inflammation? How can we calm them? It's not just about your macros. It's not just about calories in and calories out. We want to know what are the foods that your body is going to love, it's going to respond to help you produce hormones, to help you get better sleep, to help you detoxify better, to help you feel more inflamed, to help you feel more energized, more focused, more on, more vibrant. It doesn't revolve around a number. And we can do this through testing. We can do this through food journaling. I love to use a food, mood, poop journal that really helps you and me get to know what's going on in there, how your body is responding to food, to what foods, how does it affect your mood, your performance, your cognitive performance, your relationships, your energy, and then of course your poops. What does it look like? When are you doing it? Are you even doing it? We need to know these things, and it really, really helps to get granular and also take a bio-individual approach. You know, a traditional nutritionist or dietitian is going to say, okay, well, you have this diagnosis, so we're going to do X, Y, Z for it. And we in functional nutrition will take your diagnosis in context. Who is this person who has this dis-ease? What has been going on for them? What is their life like? What is their mental health like? What are their relationships like? How can we modulate by bringing some things in, by taking out some things from their environment, turning off that toxic tap? That's modulating an inflammatory response that's going to have a positive feedback loop on their digestion, their respiration, their immune system, their hormone balance. Traditionally, the diagnosis is being treated. The functional way is to treat sleep and poop and blood sugar dysregulation, the non-negotiables. It's really hard to find the results you're looking for without the non-negotiables. And so what we want to do is empower you. That is my aim, to empower you so that you know what your non-negotiables are, so that you feel the benefits of, oh yeah, when this is working, when this is humming along, I do feel better. So that you can unequivocally go out into the world, to social events, to holidays with families, to work events, and own it. I'm not going to do this. I am going to do this. Maybe I'm going to bring some of my own food. Maybe I'm going to advocate for myself and ask for something that's a little bit different than what's being offered. When you fully understand what makes you feel best, you won't settle for anything less. And it won't feel weird, because most people will start to notice what you're doing and how you're doing it differently, and how you are looking differently and feeling differently and behaving differently, and then wanting to know more. What are you doing? What's your secret? How'd you do it? They're going to want what you're having. If you want to learn what's right for you, how you can address the 3 roots of all disease, of your dis-ease, and figure out how you can have influence over them so that you can have agency over your own body and feel empowered in every situation in your everyday life, and know what foods are right for you, what testing might help us uncover what's going on in there. It might confirm something that we already suspect. If you'd like to know more, I invite you to grab a copy of my chronic illness recovery guide. Those are the first next best steps. And you can also feel free to schedule a chronic illness review. We will do that deep dive and give you a plan that is customized to you, so that you can always, forevermore, address your 3 roots and get rid of your dis-ease. In functional nutrition, we're not counting calories and macros. Instead, we are elevating and upgrading the understanding that you have of your own body. After all, you are your own expert, and every part of you is addressed. What you do every day, how you eat, the patterns, your preferences, your lifestyle. And the approach that we do is that of bio-individuality. We are all unique and need to understand your internal physiology, your hormones, your genetics. It all matters, and it's all connected. Once we understand your story, what makes the signs and symptoms worse or better, these are called mediators, you'll no longer feel alone, and you'll no longer feel unheard. When I was struggling with my chronic illness for over 10 years, I felt very alone and very unheard, because I didn't even have a diagnosis, and that's what I wanted. That's what I was waiting for. I thought that would finally fix me. No, it's attending to these 3 roots. What we do together is take an investigative approach. Not just one way of eating. There's not just one set of tests that you're missing. There's not just one plug and play, one magic pill, but a deeper understanding and communication with yourself that allows for the real healing to happen. That's the functional nutrition way. That's what's kept me off meds and pain for 15 years. So I would love to know how this approach has worked for you. Please like and subscribe so you know when my next video is released. Thanks so much for being here. See you on the next one. Bye for now.